I am making an updated Pendulum Magician deck profile. I've been tweaking with this deck a bit just because I really do like Supreme King's Arc. And this is just one of my favorite decks just because it can just summon monsters like there's no tomorrow. And it uses all my summoning methods of Fusion, Synchro, and Xyz. And then I just really like Pendulum, and I'll make another updated deck profile if cards like Electromite come off the ban list, like which Electromite should be at 1 and Mystic Mind should be banned. Personal opinions. Or at least the Electromite part. Anyway, starting with the monsters. I play 1 copy of Trapeze Magician. This is only in the deck because of Chronograph Sorcerer that can just place it in your pendulum scale from the deck, or can summon it from the deck. But because it is level 3, I am trying a new sub boss monster other than the Supreme King's Arc for this because it's level 3. Then I play 3 copies of Harmonizing Magician. Harmonizing Magician has the pendulum ability of all your face-up monsters gain 100 attack points for every different face-up pendulum magician in your extra deck. But it has the monster ability of it cannot be used for Fusion, Synchro, or Xyz summoning unless the other materials are Magician Pendulum monsters. And it cannot be pendulum summoned. It cannot be pendulum summoned from the extra deck. But when it's pendulum summoned, you can special summon a pendulum magician from your deck, but it is banished when it leaves the field. And you can only use that effect of Harmonizing Magician once per turn. Then I play 3 copies of Purple Poison Magician. Purple Poison Magician has the pendulum effect of you can target a dark spellcaster you control. It gains 1200 attack points till the end of the turn, and then it self-destructs. And its monster effect is if this card is destroyed, including if it's by its own pendulum ability, then you can target 1 card on the field and destroy it. Then I play 3 copies of Double Iris Magician. Double Iris Magician has the pendulum effect of you can target 1 dark spellcaster you control to then have it deal double battle damage when it battles a monster, and then it self-destructs. And then the monster effect is when this card is destroyed by card effect or battle, then you can add a Pendulum Graph card from your deck to your hand, and it's always treated as a Pendulum Dragon. And starting Supreme King, Purple Poison Magician is always treated as a Fusion Dragon. Then I play 2 copies of White Wing Magician. White Wing Magician is only in this deck for its name of always being treated as a Synchro Dragon. But it has the pendulum effect of once per turn when an activated card or effect resolves that targets a dark spellcaster monster you control, you can have it self-destruct to then negate that effect. And then its monster effect is just if this pendulum summon card is used as synchro material, banish it. Because it is technically a level 4 tuner. Then I play 3 copies of Black Fang Magician. Black Fang has the pendulum effect you can target 1 monster your opponent controls, have its attack, have it self-destruct. And its monster effect is when it's destroyed by battle or card effect, you can target a dark spellcaster in your graveyard and special summon it. And it's always treated as an Xyz dragon. Then I play 3 copies of Wisdom Eye Magician. Wisdom Eye Magician has the pendulum effect of while a magician is in the other's pendulum scale, you can have it self-destruct to then place another pendulum magician from your deck and put it face up in your extra monster zone. And it has the monster effect, but I've never used it because I've only ever had it in the pendulum scale. I'm honestly thinking about taking Wisdom Eye Magician out entirely. But as the effect, you can discard this card, target a card in your pendulum zone whose current scale is different from its original pendulum scale, and that scale becomes its original. There's a reason I don't use this monster effect. It's bad. Then I play 3 of the best normal summon of the deck, being Performer Pal, Skullcrabat, Joker. I kind of want to play double summon this deck, just for if you see 2 Skullcrabat Jokers, because its effect is not a once per turn search, but it is a hard, when this card is normal summoned effect, so it's implied that it's supposed to be once per turn. But when the card's normal summoned, you add a Magician Pendulum monster, Odd Eyes monster, or Performer Pal monster from your deck to your hand. You only add 1 of the 3, not 1 of each. That'd be stupid. And the card probably would have been a 3 all along because holy crap. Anyway. I then play 3 copies of Chronograph Sorcerer. Chronograph Sorcerer has the pendulum effect. You can destroy it to then take a Time Gazer Magician, either summon it from your deck, or you can place it in your pendulum scale. And then its monster effect is if a card or cards on your field is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can activate its effect, summon it and another monster in your hand. And then once per turn, you can banish itself, a Fusion Dragon, Synchro Dragon, Xyz Dragon, and Pendulum Dragon as cost to then fusion summon a Supreme King Zark from your extra deck. And you can only use each effect of Chronograph Sorcerer once per turn. Then I play 3 copies of Oath Dragon Magician. Oath Dragon Magician is the best Magician Pendulum to have in your low scale, as its pendulum effect is while a Magician is in your other pendulum scale, you can then target 1 Pendulum Magician face up in your extra deck and add it back to your hand. And I believe its monster effect is when it's normal or special summon, you can target a Pendulum Magician or Odd Eyes monster in your graveyard and add to your hand. You'll use that effect of Oath Dragon Magician once per turn. And its pendulum effect also works for Odd Eyes as well, but it's the Magician deck, so you're always going to be choosing a Pendulum Magician. Then to finish off the monsters, I play 1 copy of Chronograph Sorcerer. Really want this to come back to 3, just because reasons. I say with shifty eyes. But anyway, it's lucky enough that's at 1. But since this card's at 1, I couldn't see things like Electromite never coming off the ban list. This might trade places with Electromite just to see what happens. But Chronograph Sorcerer has the pendulum effect of you can destroy to then take a Time Gazer Magician, or a Stargazer Magician from your deck, and either summon it as a monster or place it face up in your pendulum scale. And then the monster effect of if a card or cards on your field is destroyed, you can summon it to then add a card with the same name as a destroyed card from your deck to your hand. And then it shares the same Summon Zark effect as Chronograph Sorcerer. And you can only use each effect of Chronograph Sorcerer, Chronograph. You can only use each effect of Astrograph Sorcerer once per turn. Moving on to these spells, I play 1 copy of Called by the Grave, just to deal with hand traps or monster effects in the grave. Cough, cough, channel cough. 1 copy of Monster Reborn, just in case I need to summon a monster from the graveyard. 2 copies of Star Pendulum Graph. Star Pendulum Graph is really good in the Sky Striker matchup, just because it prevents your opponent from targeting your spellcasters with spells. And then if a Pendulum Magician is destroyed by battle or card effect once per turn, you can add a Pendulum Magician with a different name from your deck to your hand. But like I said, the main thing I like about it is that in the Sky Striker matchup, it prevents your opponent from targeting your spellcasters with spells, which most of their spell cards target. Then I play 2 copies of Duelist Alliance. This card can only be activated while you have a monster in your pendulum scale, but lets you search for a pendulum card from your deck to your hands, like Time Pendulum Graph, Star Pendulum Graph, Double Iris Magician, because it's always treated as a Pendulum Dragon. Or you can add a copy of Pendulum Call. Pendulum Call is you discard a card and then add 2 Pendulum Magicians with different names from your deck to your hand. However, after this effect resolves, your opponent cannot target or destroy Magician Pendulum cards, or Magician Pendulum monsters in your pendulum scales cannot be destroyed until the end of the next turn. However, if you activate the effect of a monster in the or a Pendulum Magician in the pendulum scale that turn, it cannot activate. And then to finish off the deck, I play 3 copies of Time Pendulum Graph. Time Pendulum Graph is the main control card of this deck, where it has the effect of your opponent cannot target your spellcaster monsters with traps, and once per turn, you can target one Pendulum Magician on your field. You can target one face-up Pendulum Magician on your field, and one card your opponent controls, destroy them. But if it did not destroy 2 cards with its effect, then you can send 1 card on the field to the graveyard. And you can only use that effect at Time Pendulum Graph once per turn. That is it for the main deck. Moving on to the extra deck. I play 1 copy of Beyond the Pendulum. Depending on how my secondary boss monster goes, which will be the second to last monster, I might end up bumping Beyond the Pendulum to 2. But Beyond the Pendulum just requires, I believe, 2 monsters, including a pendulum. Okay, it just requires 2 effect monsters, including a pendulum. So I probably will end up bumping it up to 2 because the boss monster I'm testing does require you to use Time Star, Harmonizing, and a level 4 Magician Pendulum monster. I apologize for coughing. But Beyond the Pendulum has the effect of when it's link summoned, you can activate its effect to then pay... My bad. If this link summon card is in the extra monster zone, you can pay 1,200 life points to then add 2 pendulum monsters from your deck to your hand. And then it has the effect of if 2 monsters with different levels are pendulum summoned to zone at points 2, you can destroy 2 cards your opponent controls, and you can only use each effect of Beyond the Pendulum once per turn. And I got search effect wrong. It is if it is link summoned in the extra monster zone. Then I play 1 copy of Raider's Knight. Raider's Knight just requires 2 dark monsters, and you can detach material to then use it to Xyz summon a Raid Raptor, Phantom Knight, or Xyz Dragon that is 1 rank higher by using itself as material. Okay. Then I play 2 copies of Time Star Magician. Time Star Magician has the effect of soft once per turn. You can use a detached material to add a dark spellcaster from your deck to your hand. And then if a pendulum card or cards on your field be destroyed, you can send 1 Pendulum Magician from your deck to the graveyard instead. My favorite thing of this is that one of my friends tried to suicide into a Supreme King Zark after they summoned their own 4,000 attack monster, just for a time star to then save Zark from being destroyed in battle. They lost the will to fight back with that game. It was funny. But the main thing you use with that effect is when you're using time pendulum graph, as you'll target one of your own pendulum scales and an opponent's card, destroy their card, send Magician from deck to grave to save your card from being destroyed, and since Time Pendulum Graph didn't destroy 2 monsters with this effect, you then get to send a card on your opponent's field to the graveyard. It's a win-win for you. Not as much for your opponent, but it's for you. Then I play 1 copy of Supreme King Dragon Dark Rebellion. Supreme King Dragon Dark Rebellion has the effect, if it battles the monster, you can detach material, reduce that opposing monster's attack to 0, and then it gains that monster's original attack points until the end of the turn. Then I play 1 copy of Performance Trapeze Magician. Trapeze Magician has the effect of you don't take damage unless it's greater than Trapeze Magician's attack points, which are 2,500. So Trick Stars can't really do anything to it, as they like doing 200, 200, 200, 200. But Trapeze Magician also has the effect of it can use a material, target 1 monster you control, it gets 2 attacks during each battle phase, but it's destroyed during the end phase. But I like using that effect on this next monster, being 1 copy of Arc Rebellion Xyz Dragon, because Arc Rebellion has the effect it can't be destroyed by card effects, so just by using Trapeze on Arc Rebellion Dragon once, Arc Rebellion suddenly gets 2 attacks every turn. But Arc Rebellion also has the effect if you can use one material from it to then have it gain the attack points of every other monster in play. And if if an Xyz dragon is attached to as material, it then negates the effects of all other face-up monsters on the field. However, it's the only monster allowed to attack when this effect is used. But it's worth it because typically if it's being used, this thing is usually over 12,000 attack points. Moving on to the Synchros, I play one copy of Supreme King Dragon and Clear Wing. When this card is Synchro summoned, destroy all face-up monsters your opponent controls. And then if it battles the monster, you can you can cancel the... I forget how it's worded exactly. Once per turn before damage calculation, this card battles opponent's monster, you can destroy that monster, and if you do, inflict damage to your opponent equal to the destroyed monster's original attack. Then I play one copy of Enlightenment Paladin. If Enlightenment Paladin is synchro summoned using only Magician Pendulum monsters, then you can target one spell in your graveyard into your hand. And if it destroys the monster in battle, then your opponent takes damage equal to that monster's original attack? Yeah, you deal damage equal to its original attack points. They also play one copy of Crimson Blader. Crimson Blader has the effect of when it destroys an opponent's monster at battle and sends to the graveyard. Your opponent cannot summon monsters at level 5 or higher. This is only in here to be used against things like Branded Despia, Punks, or anything using the Punk engine. It's just a really good card for this deck right now. But it only locks them at level 5 or higher for their next turn. So once your opponent uses something like Branded Banishment or Super Poly, they can do it on your turn. I also play one copy of Ignis for Prominence, the Blasting Draco Slayer, as it has the effect of you can target a pendulum monster on the field, destroy it, and then shuffle one monster on the field back into the owner's deck. I just like it because it's non-targeting removal. The only thing it targets is its initial destruction to then shuffle something back. Then I play one copy of Scarlet Red Dragon Archfiend, just because of its effect of being able to destroy all special summoned effect monsters that have attack points equal to or less than its own, and then burns your opponent for 500 for each one. So it's just decent to summon in case I go into time or need to deal damage quickly. Void Ogre Dragon for going first, as if you control don't have a hand, is a spell trap negate once per turn. The only downside is you have to have no hand. And then the boss monster I'm messing around with, I'll probably come out for in a second, Beyond the Pendulum, is one copy of Psychic End Punisher. Psychic End Punisher has the effect of, while your life points are lower than your opponent's, it is unaffected by your opponent's card effects. Yeah, it's unaffected as long as your life points are lower or equal to your opponent's. And at the start of the battle phase, you can activate its effect, so it gains attack equal to the difference in life points. And that does not go away at all. So the more battle phases this thing sees, the bigger it gets. But the main issue I have with it is the fact that it's level 11 instead of level 8. So you have to use Time Star or Time Gazer Magician. Or I might even take out other cards like Monster Reborn for a copy of... Oh, what's it called? I can't remember its name, but it's a level 3 Pendulum Magician. Timebreaker Magician, that's what its name is. But like I said, it's probably coming out because you have to use a level 3 and a level 4 with Pendulum or Harmonizing Magician. Then to finish off the extra deck, I do play one copy of Supreme King Zark. Supreme King Zark has the pendulum effect of, while it's in the, or your opponent's, you activate it affects your opponent's Fusion, Synchro, Xyz. Fusion, Synchro, and Xyz monsters are negated. And then once per turn, your opponent adds a card or cards from their deck to their hand. You can destroy that card or cards. And then when it's Fusion summoned, you can destroy all cards in your opponent's field. Your opponent cannot target or destroy it with card effects. If it destroys an opponent's monster in battle, then you can summon a Supreme King monster from your deck or extra deck, ignoring summoning conditions. And then if it is destroyed by battle or card effect for some reason, you can then place it in your face-up or pendulum zone. That never happens. Usually if I summon Zark, I am trying to protect Zark, as Zark is this deck's boss monster. As it just nukes your opponent's board, and then it continues to summon powerful dragons like Supreme King Dragon Clearwing. But that is it for my Pendulum Magician deck profile. If you have any ways of possibly improving it, any ideas next week see I make, or have decks that see face each other, feel free to comment below. Thanks for watching.